If you're tired of boring bland fish and chips, today we are taking the ultimate comfort food and giving it a fiery, flavorful, crispy masala makeover. Get ready for a spicy masala fish and chips ready in 30 minutes. Let's go. One thing you want to ace is the size of your potatoes. What I mean by that is how consistent the size is makes this meal so much better. So to get a consistent cut, I used my food processor. I'm using the blade with a big cut because I do not want them to be too thin. So yeah, that's what I'm using to get a consistent cut. If you don't have a food processor, maybe you can use a peeler, or you can just use a knife, but be careful to get all the sizes consistent. Then after that, I'm just rinsing to make sure I have clean potatoes. And as I'm rinsing, I'm checking for any that might have any impurities. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here, checking while rinsing and making sure the water runs clean. Then after everything is rinsed, I leave that on my sieve here for them to drain as I'm doing my marinade, because dry potatoes will give you better results. So I don't leave them in water, I just leave them draining as I do other things and get ready to bake them. Also, I'm preheating my oven as I'm doing this, just so that when I'm ready, they get into an already ready oven. Great. So yeah, now it's time for the marinade. I'm using parsley, thyme, salt, and chips masala and vegetable oil. So I just add everything in one big bowl and mix. All the measurements will be in the recipe I will post in the description. So yeah, I'm just adding that and then adding the potatoes and making sure I mix that in well. I will also add breadcrumbs at the end. I did not add them here because I want them to be as crispy as possible. So I did not want them soaking any water as I'm mixing. Even though I had drained my potato, you can still see there are a few drops of water here and there. That's what I'm trying to avoid, contact with the breadcrumbs. So I mix everything well, add the breadcrumbs, mix everything well again, and now we are ready to line our baking sheet. So I just use a baking paper. This makes things easier for me. I use a baking paper and pour all my potatoes. If they won't fit, don't worry, because we still have to get another sheet for the fish. So anything that's left over, that spills over from this, can go in that sheet, since I'm baking all of them together in the oven. Now I'm just spreading everything out and removing anything that doesn't fit. And then yeah, this is pretty much it. For prepping my baking sheet, I do this, I line it with baking paper because it's so much easier for cleaning. It helps with the burning, because sometimes the sheet burns like faster than how it would if you had baking paper. So you can find if you had too much heat, or maybe you added a little extra time, then if you don't have a baking paper, that can go wrong very fast. And also cleaning that baking sheet can become very problematic. So to avoid all that, I just use a baking paper to be safe. If you don't have any, you don't have to use any. It's just personal preference. I like doing it, and it's a tip, makes life easier. All the leftovers I added onto my other baking tin with my fish and put that in the oven at 180 degrees for 30 minutes with the fan option on. Now I'm doing my sauce, because this is going to be a dry meal. I need a good sauce. So for my sauce, I'm adding mayo, yogurt, honey, and some dill. And that's pretty much it. It was a very easy sauce to make, but it was delicious. And this is how everything was looking when it was done. It was crispy, it was sweet, and we enjoyed. Try this recipe and enjoy. Like and subscribe to my YouTube page for more recipes like this or very different ones. Bye. See you on the next one.